Did your anxiety crop up again in those moments, or no? Maybe you were better, managing your stress better.
It cropped
Um,
to answer your question, it cropped up, but not for my son. It was for my work. So
okay.
that's when it started to show. So as I loved the medical rep role because I got the car, the salary was good, the traveling, the you're a med rep, etc., etc. But the I realized more and more I didn't like the sales bit of it. I knew I didn't like the sales bit. I could talk to a pharmacist doctor for hours. They would love me because of the rapport. But I started to feel more like this was not for me. The more emphasis was placed on your sales, what you need to achieve, speak to six, seven doctors a day, targets. That gave me anxiety. I used to get anxiety just for seeing my boss calling me on the phone. And one of the roles that I had previously, I actually walked away from the job before having another job because of the work environment I was in and because of how my manager at the time was speaking to me. I would have classified it as bullying, but however she was speaking to me, it made me feel anxious just to see her name come up on the my cell phone. So I remember walking away from that job with a brand new car, by the way, which I leased out. Didn't know anything about leasing, but at the time, just follow everyone else in the team. And after, I don't remember how long I was there for, I think about 9 months, I walked away from the role, not having another job lined up. But I just knew I couldn't have I couldn't feel like this all the time, not wanting to check my email, not wanting to do anything because of the realizing that the environment I'm working in is no longer serving me. But I knew I had to work because I had a child and I knew I had to get another job. And I knew I didn't want to go back to pharmacy school and do the conversion because that would have taken me away from my son full time and the money associated with that. In my mind at the time, my only solution was to go back into pharmaceutical sales. And that's why I've been in pharmaceutical sales consistently up until most recently.
That's interesting because, God, we have so much in common. Becoming a parent is all sorts of unexpected.
Yes.
It's really hard to prepare
Mm,
for what type of parent you're going to become.
mm,
You don't know what type of parent you're going to become until you're in it. And people always say and give you that reassurance that things will work out. And you take it day by day and you work through all the challenges that come with being a parent and kind of not to worry about it and try
mm,
and preempt. But I was absolutely naive
mm.
as to the impact that this human being would have on my life.
Wow.
Like completely green as to what I would lose.
Mm,
Obviously, there's loads that I've gained,
of
but
course.
what I would be giving up on,
Mm,
or like certain types of freedoms that you take for granted,
mm,
time, peace
yeah.
and quiet. You're basically on call 24/7. And when I had Lily in Abu Dhabi, like
Mm,
I didn't necessarily want to give her a foreign passport, so I flew home to give birth. So that otherwise she would have a UK passport from descent rather
mhm.
than actually being born here.
Yeah.
And there are some loopholes in the passport system
Mm,
now. So if she wanted to if she had been born in the UAE, I believe she can't pass the passport on to her child. So though she'd get the British passport, she wouldn't be able to pass it on. So I didn't really feel comfortable with that at the time. And I was just
yeah.
like, no, I need to fly home. Just make it easy.
Yeah.
But obviously, then, like a lot of people, a lot of my listeners know, I had 6 weeks of maternity leave and went back to basically 48 hours of working per week, night shifts, day shifts, weekends.
Wow.
So she went to nursery full time. And at that time, I didn't have any mum guilt,
Mm,
zero, because my mind was programmed,
mm,
because my mindset is get on with life, that this is the path I've chosen and it's okay that you need to go back to work to provide for your family and for your newborn. and she's well looked after in the nursery. And they were wonderful, because the care in nurseries is pretty much like one-on-one
Yes.
or one-on-two. The Filipinos that look after children in nurseries in Abu Dhabi, it's mostly Filipinos. They're wonderful humans, and they really cared for her every need and treated her like their own. So I had no guilt at that time sending her to nursery, because I was just like, this is your mission, this is what you've chosen, this is your path. You knew that having a baby would mean that you'd need to go back to work early. Now, she was unexpected, to be fair. It was an unexpected pregnancy. So obviously a lot of these decisions were made
Quickly.
without planning. Yeah.
Yes.
But then you're in the moment and you're
Yeah.
like, this, we're going to have to work around it. And this is what we're going to have to do. I
Mhm.
have to accept that I need to go back to work because I want to stay here and I need money to stay here. I need to provide for
Mm,
my family, etc. You have that mindset
mm.
of positivity and motivation towards that goal,
That's it.
without necessarily really understanding the impact that will have
Yeah.
on your child. So
Yes.
my motherly instinct did not kick in for many months.
Mm,
It was only when I returned to the UK after she was 1, because we left because we didn't really have that much family. We had no family support. And I was raised with lots of cousins,
mm,
grandparents, aunts, uncles, big family environment. And I had guilt about her missing out on the connection that
mm.
she should be developing. In my mind, I was like, she should be developing a relationship with her grandparents, because my relationship was strong and I didn't want her to miss out on being around her grandparents and only seeing them once a year.
Yeah.
And that played on my mind quite a lot.
Wow.
So it did drive me to move back to the UK so that she could have that opportunity. And it was kind of when we got back to the UK, and even the logistics of dropping her to a nursery, like I couldn't find her a place in a nursery. So it was like a 45-minute drive just to drop her to nursery,
Wow.
and then another sort of hour drive in the
Mm.
opposite direction to go to work. And then after work, literally running to get there for
Yeah,
the six
I've done
o'clock
that
close
so many
every day,
times. Yeah.
getting home, rushing home, because you still need to give her a bath and bedtime routine
Mm,
and basically spend time with her. And that was really hard. And
mm,
then I started realizing, as she was 1.5, 2 years old, that it was impacting her like emotional health, not having
mhm.
me around. And then when COVID hit, we were doing slightly different shifts, and there would be 4 days I wouldn't even see her,
Mm,
because I'd be going to work well before she wakes up and then coming home. Her bedtime was 6 p.m. We were really adamant about strict routine,
yes.
sleep routine, getting her 12 hours of sleep so that she could be happy and healthy. And we still really care about that now to this day. But at that time, it wasn't like we would make her wait up, because she's been at nursery for 12 hours. So she doesn't need to be
Mm,
staying up late just to see me. And then it would be difficult to
yes.
put her to
Right.
bed. But weekends, she would, like, it's a compensation method, like you say, like weekends, there was no time for me. It was all about
Mhm.
Lily and spending time with her, engaging with her, and making up for the days that I didn't
Mhm.
see her. Now, this lifestyle, unfortunately, is partially still in my life, because I'm still
Oh,
commuting 3 hours a day. I do get home at 6 o'clock, but obviously she's older now, she's 4. So I get from 6 till sort of 7:15 to spend
yes.
that time with her, but she still struggles.
Mm,
She still finds it very challenging. And
yeah,
when I am home, boy, that girl does not leave my side.
I
She is all over me. She's literally a slug
don't.
who's like sucking the blood.